Alright, hello and welcome back to Let's Play yet another no-name MAME game. Today's no-name MAME game is, of course, versus Ninja Jajamaru Kun. But, have you ever played a game called, or have you ever heard of a thing called Retro Center CX? Retro Game Challenge CX? Well, they made a video game for the DS, and I don't know if you recognize this. This is Ninja Haggle Man for that game. Not quite, but I mean, the visual style is absurdly reminiscent of that game. Oh, bombs kill him. Okay. But it seems... okay. Well, I suppose I should mention the controls. But so the first button is you shoot a shuriken. Interesting. Second button, you jump. And just like Mario, if you jump through, if you hit a block with your head, then you can jump through it. Okay. But the cool thing about this game is that it's Ninja Haggle Man for the Retro Game Center CX. I've long since, well, okay, so it has a bunch of games that are seemingly based off of real Nintendo games, but I've never heard of a real Nintendo game that was anywhere near that. And yet, here we are. This is it. Alright, maybe not, but I mean, the general aesthetic reeks of Ninja Haggle Man, the main character reeks of Ninja Haggle Man, his main weapon reeks of Ninja Haggle Man, the rampant screen flickering is just annoying, doesn't really reek of anything. So at first I thought our goal was to save the princess, but evidently we just have to steal all the coins. No, I'm guessing for real, we just have to destroy all the enemies. That's right, just. The game is pretty tricky about the enemies, because they seem to always, like, be able to get you at a disadvantage. What was that? At least with Donkey Kong, like, Donkey Kong ran away. This skull guy just kind of lazily throws down some bombs at you. But anyway, just kind of given the weird platforming nature of this game, it seems like the enemies always kind of like hit you at an advantage. Well, I don't know about an advantage, but it doesn't seem like you can ever really get an advantage over the enemies. Like, well, okay, I guess that would make more sense to say if the enemies were a bit harder to fight. But it's just kind of weird given the platforming mechanics, like, every time you fight against the enemy, it's basically going to be in a cramped little corridor. That's what I mean by, like, it's hard. And so, yeah, they can hit you with shots like that. And I mean, in theory, that makes it a little hard and a little impossible to beat, but the sad reality of it is, it just kind of makes it a little easy. Oh, and we even have weird extra people. That was a crow person. Vaguely reminiscent of Ninja Haggle Man. And as you'd expect, I mean, the enemies aren't quite the same, and things aren't quite the same, but I think this might actually be the real Nintendo game that Ninja Haggle Man was based off of. And I'm sure I'll investigate it later and find out that I was only half right, but still, half right is better than 0 right. Oh my god, there's crazy power-ups. I'm telling you, everything that happens in this game has to be Ninja Haggle Man. And, I mean, if you've never heard of that Retro Game Center CX, then you should probably check that out for the DS. I mean, it's... yeah, it's an interesting little collection of games that are meant to capture the Nintendo aesthetic. And they more or less succeed, and after playing it, I really did kind of, like, appreciate, find a newfound appreciation for the Nintendo games. So, that's an interesting little thing. I'd like to think we all learned something today. Well, on that note, this Cats. Gotta give it another go. Come on, did you really think I was gonna rush through a game in, like, 5 minutes, and, like, not even try to get past to the second level? Alright, so today's no-name MAME game is, of course, Ninja Jajamaru Kun, which is Japanese for Ninja Jajamaru Boy. Just kidding. The boy's part of the Maru in his name. So, again, the basic idea is that he can break through blocks, and then you have to kill all the enemies and make it to the next stage. This sounds easy, and I think it is, actually. I'm not sure. I'm assuming, well, okay, you saw the intros as the same as me. You know that there were kind of crazy power-ups, and there are new enemies, and things get insane later on. And as you see, we've got the omnipresent Skull Man and the girlfriend. Always at the top of the screen, always there to taunt us, always there to ruin our fun. I'm beginning to wonder if this game was, well, okay, I know this game was strongly inspired by Donkey Kong, just like essentially every other game from this time period. But I didn't think, well, it's a little funny to, like, take such an ancillary aspect of Donkey Kong and, like, constantly focus on it. So if you remember from oh, nice. We're going faster than Sonic with his red speed boots, which don't occur nearly as often as you'd like, by the way. Oh, so you can just bump into enemies with abandon. Most games, you, like, touch enemies, then they kill you. This game, it's like, haha, I'm taunting you. What are you gonna do about it? Surprisingly little. Oh, phew. I was a little afraid that I was out of lives already. I had not begun to run out of fun. So, oh yeah, so it's interesting to note that they borrowed such an seemingly ancillary aspect of Donkey Kong. So, I mean, what I'm talking about is in Donkey Kong was always at the top of the screen with Pauline, and it's like every scene of Donkey Kong includes Donkey Kong just kind of staring back at you, taunting you. So you constantly have this sort of, like, motivation for going along. And I mean, this is like a platform. Well, okay. The things about Donkey Kong was that it was all each level or each screen was all one screen. So even as you moved along, then Donkey Kong would always be there. You wouldn't expect him to go anywhere. But in this game, because it's a platforming game, you can kind of change the screens. So it's kind of weird to see that they have the Skull Kid like just always there, always waiting to kill you. Which, yeah, it's pretty cool. I feel like it's a very thorough homage to Donkey Kong. Although programming-wise, it's actually kind of easy to do that. You just never change the position of the character. But gameplay-wise, it's just kind of weird, because most people wouldn't do that. I guess technically it's a little bit harder, because you just have to, like, put the guy there, and, like, you have to actually have his location there. You can't just have him be, a thing in the background, but I guess either way, it's none too hard to do. Oh, cool. So, as we go along, well, we get little previews of who are going to be the next bosses. Also looking at Haggle Man. And now we're fighting, well, they kind of look like penguins, but I'd like to imagine that they're crows. If only because crows have a more martial ancestry. Although if you've played Parodius, you know that penguins can kick ass too. Nothing doing? Well, oh my god, what is that? It looks like a little eggplant baby. And it doesn't seem too much harder than the crows, but the crows still kind of kick a fair amount of butt. Not quite like the silly spirits just flying around. So, I mean, this is one of those games, also in the vein of Super Mario Brothers, where you can just keep on there. I mean, there's no continue, obviously. So you just put in the coin and you just keep playing. And if you're good enough, you make it to the next level. And if you're bad enough, well, you get to continue. I mean, you get to continue putting in quarters, that is. Definitely, like, one of the more challenging games. So, of course, I'm not going to go all the way through. That would entail, like, hours and hours and hours of play. And there's a limit at which this stops being fun. Although, if you've ever watched Game Center CX, that's actually kind of the basic premise of the show, where you've got this poor, unsuspecting sap, and then you make him play a video game for, like, a day, or until he beats it, whichever comes sooner. And I've heard that, it's not like it's a guaranteed thing that he's gonna win. So it is kind of a bit of drama to see if he finishes it in a day or not. And that's the premise of Game Center CX. So, in a way, it all comes full circle. Well, on that note, this cat's got a scat.